Hello there, Jerome here from JeromeFitness. Here are my 11 tips for a healthy, successful life. The first one is to invest in yourself by means of education, following some courses, stuff like that. Now obviously it depends on what field that you want to work in, because if you want to be an artist, don't waste any time or money on getting an art degree, but rather work on your art and on the craft itself. And in those 4 years you can actually have already built a successful business or a successful art shop or something like that, instead of wasting it on college or university on that specific field. But there are a lot of courses and educations worthwhile, and if you have the money and the time, then you can definitely spend it on that. Next up is education as well, and education by means of getting books and reading them, obviously. Now I read about 50 pages every single day, which comes down to at least 1,500 and sometimes even 2,000 pages every single month, which is 3 up to 6 books every single month that I read. Now I read on various topics, so not simply the fields that I work in, but also things like psychology, philosophy, business, stuff like that, to broaden my perspective, and those things that I learn in there I can actually apply to all the other fields that I work in. Tip number 3 is to ditch social media. You don't need it, it is worthless, and it actually wastes a lot of time. Social media actually is addictive. There have been studies to this, and it is mostly because of the dopamine that is released every time that you get a notification or a new message, and that actually turns into a habit addiction. And actually it is useless to get all that information, and your concentration drops down. You cannot simply read your book, or you cannot work properly if you are constantly disturbed by messages or notifications. Then you should go to bed and wake up early every single day. It is simply very beneficial if you wake up early, even far before you go to work, and do something useful, such as do some yoga, do some stretching, work out, or read a book before you go to work. That's what I do anyways. And tip number 5 is to actually do your stretching. Whether you do yoga or Pilates, simply do something that increases your mobility rather than decreases it, because especially in modern day we sit a lot, way too much. This actually causes a lot of lower back pain, stuff like that, and you want to avoid that to have a vital life. So do your stretching in the morning or the evening, basically whenever you feel like it, but make sure you do it. Get a healthy diet. That's tip number 6. Now at the age of about 23 you can already see that the arteries start clogging up, and that is the first step of heart disease. Now this takes a lot longer to develop, but at the age of 40 or 50 you are at higher risk of cardiac disease. Now you can do this, you can actually improve your diet, first of all by increasing the amount of fruits, vegetables, whole grains and legumes that you eat. Now you should be active every single day, but you don't have to work out every single day. So I work out about 3 to 4 days a week, and that comes down to 5 to 6 hours a week, but because I do bouldering and fitness I don't really work out that much. It is very short intensity and a lot of rest. And besides that, I do try to be as active as possible simply by not having a car and cycling to work and doing some groceries, or I go for a walk of 30 to 60 minutes for example. Simply be more active and stop being lazy all the time. Tip number 8 is the exact opposite, namely do nothing. With that I mean that you should take about 5 minutes at least, but preferably 15 minutes a day, or 5 minutes in the morning, afternoon and evening, to do absolutely nothing. Just sit down, stare out of the window, or do some meditation to calm down your mind and to actually flow. Let your brain and your thoughts flow, because that will increase your creativity and it helps you to relax. Tip number 9 is to stop complaining and actually take your responsibility. Don't play the victim role. You're not a victim. You can actually live the life that you want to live. Now obviously some people have it easier than others, but only those who are willing to work for it can switch it around and live the life that they want to live. Tip number 9 is to have some discipline and perseverance. Don't give up when something doesn't go the way you have planned, because actually failure is the best teacher. Learn from your mistakes until you have made whatever you wanted and to have fulfilled the goal that you wanted to achieve. And the last tip is to stop dreaming and start planning, and more importantly, start acting on those plans. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more thumbs up, and I will see you next time.